Hello, everybody. This is Secular Sekai with Tridents Against Tyrants. Apologies for a little bit of a late start. 8 minutes, not too bad. Thank you all for being here. I know it's a different time than usual. I am here with a good friend of mine. I've known for a couple of years now, Kíng-Bûn Hong. Also goes by Kevin. Yeah, would you like to say hello to everybody?
Hello. You pronounce well.
Ah, thank you.
Thank you, say guy.
I try. I'm not fluent in any of the languages of Taiwan, so I'm glad
Yeah,
to hear that. Thank
it's
you.
my Taiwanese name.
Yeah.
It's different from Mandarin. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Precisely. Which not a lot of people from outside of Taiwan know about. So yeah, thank you for pointing that out. Because there is a difference in pronunciation and everything.
Yeah. I need to introduce this because most of the world they only understand Taiwanese speak Mandarin. They use Chinese, and but it doesn't like this. Before like 30 years or 40 years ago.
Hmm.
And Taiwanese, this language, was the major language, like more than like like I think near to 100% of people
Hmm.
in the island, uh, like they may not fully understand all um, uh, native speakers, but because we have others people in the
Hmm.
island,
Yeah.
but it's a common language in the island before 1945.
Yeah.
But after the World War II, the KMT, Kuomintang,
Yeah.
the Chinese nationalists,
Yeah.
after they invade Taiwan, they use a very cruel policy, language policy,
Mm.
that in school, so they change all the language. So now in Taiwan, Taiwanese is a language for elders,
Yeah.
and not much young people speak that. But yeah, I'm recently like a certificate,
Learning the
and
yeah
no,
really
I'm the certificate teacher of
oh yes.
in the high school for Taiwanese language.
Yes,
So
yes, you told me about
I'm
this.
it's funny like, because okay, let me introduce my family background.
Mm.
I'm one of four um, Chinese, three or four Taiwanese.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather is from China, from Jiangxi province. He didn't came with the KMT, Kuomintang.
Mm-hmm.
He came alone in 1951, which when the civil war is most is already finished. Okay, so he's a refugee, I would say. Then and he came Taiwan to teach Mandarin when the Taiwanese people all talk about Taiwanese. So it's funny that uh, I'm teaching Taiwanese when people only know Mandarin.
Right.
Yeah, it's like a
Well,
reverse.
so tell us a little bit about I know Kingbun is a strong proponent of civil defense, self-defense for
Yeah,
Taiwan as a nation. Um, and has been involved in quite a few different initiatives to spearhead that effort as a citizen in Taiwan. Also, a strong supporter of Ukraine. He and I have talked. He and I, the two of us, have talked about a lot of different topics at length, very long and interesting
yeah.
discussions.
And we
So,
work together to introduce drones, like Taiwan companies' drones to Ukraine. We did that before. Yeah,
yep. Yeah, we did do that. We did research, found some companies in Taiwan
yeah,
producing drones because there were so many so many Chinese drones that were getting sent into the conflict. So we were looking and saying, Taiwan's got really good drone companies. I'm sure we can put someone in contact with Ukrainian armed forces. Oh, did we lose? Oh shoot, did we lose Kíng-Bûn? Oh, you still there? Can you hear me?
Wait a minute. Yeah, I think I can speak, but I can't hear. Let me check.
Oh, okay. Well, while we're waiting for him, I've put the
Wait a
yeah.
minute.
It seems like up there. Well, while he's reconnecting, I've opened up the Q&A if anyone has any questions. So feel free to leave a few in there if you want to know anything, everybody. Or, I mean, there's a few of us here because of the time. So if you want to ask them directly in chat, feel free to as well.
Yeah, I think I'm back because there was a phone call.
Oh, there was a phone call?
Yeah, it's fine. I cancel it.
Okay. So yeah. We've done work together to do stuff for Ukraine in the past, connecting Taiwanese companies with Ukrainians. Um, your work in Taiwan itself, what can you tell us about different groups that you've worked with over the years?
Yeah, for the civil defense, I'm currently working in an authorized organization by the emergency um, ministry, I would say, and
Mm-hmm.
we licensing we license people who is trained for named disaster relief volunteers. Okay, so we train them and certificate them, and um, the policy is like when the disaster comes, including wars or typhoon, earthquake, whatever, and we expect they have the basic self like skills and basic disaster react response knowledge, and we have their list, we have their connect, so they hope we can mobilize them if they need it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's work that I very much respect because yeah, at the end of the day, it is a very tense situation. Um, it's very similar to Ukraine in a lot of ways. Um, a very large, very aggressive neighbor. Um, a lot of unsettling signs of that neighbor basically showing that they'd be willing to become violent. Um, what can you tell us about? I want to I do want to have the focus tonight be primarily on Taiwan. I know we always talk about Ukraine here, everybody, but I want Taiwan to be a topic that we focus on here because at Tridents Against Tyrants, we focus on opposing tyranny, opposing tyrants all around the world. That includes Vladimir Putin. That includes Xi Jinping. That includes anything that's wrong. We speak out against it. Um, so before we really focus more on that, though, can you tell me a little bit about Taiwan and Ukraine, how the two tie together a little bit, or what Taiwanese think of the situation in Ukraine?
Yeah, how Taiwan connect Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
I think before the war, like we don't have much relationship
Mm-hmm.
because Ukraine was pro-Soviets in the Cold War, and we Taiwan is in the other was in the other side,
Right. Right.
right?
Yeah.
And after Soviet collapse, Ukraine still have connection, strong connection. strong ties with China, especially in the economic and military technology. They have strong cooperation, and we Taiwan have economic connection with China, but I mean we are enemies in practically, so
Mm-hmm.
so we don't. I mean we were not tight before, but after the
Mm-hmm.
2022, 2022 war, and Taiwan
Mm-hmm.
start to concern the situation in Ukraine. Actually, I'm the one who concerned Ukraine before the war.
Mm-hmm.
I started to concern Ukraine in 2021. There was a natural
Mm.
gas uh, crisis. Yeah,
Natural
there was a
gas price
natural gas crisis
crash.
in Europe.
Crash. Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Oh,
Crisis.
crisis. Crisis. There we go. Oh, oh. Are you still with us?
Crisis.
Oh no.
Crisis.
Crisis. I think the connection is getting kind of slow. Can you hear me?
Crisis. Crisis.
Hello?
Like issues.
Yes. Yes, crisis. But hold on. Can you hear me or is the connection slow? Oh, shoot. Hold on a sec. Hello? If you guys can hear me in chat, give me a plus plus, everybody. Oh, shoot. Okay. Well, if I'm coming through clear in
Like
Kíng-Bûn,
putting
yeah, it's the
suddenly
connection on his end. We were trying with his computer at first. Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you. We were trying with his computer at first, but the connection there wasn't working so well. So we switched over to his phone. Let's see. Hey, can you hear me?
yeah. Is it better?
It's better. Yeah, yeah. Your connection dropped there for a sec.
Yeah, I don't know why. But I changed my position.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
cool.
mean I use cell phone. Yeah,
All right, perfect.
yeah, the mobiles.
Is your phone charged pretty well?
Yeah, so yeah, it's charged. It's
Okay,
charged.
perfect, perfect. Okay, all right. So you were saying there was a natural gas crisis.
Yeah, natural gas crisis. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
thank you for your help. And yeah, I concern Ukraine since that. And at that time, I asked my Ukrainian friends
Mm-hmm.
when I meet them and study in Germany,
Mm-hmm.
and I asked them if it's going to war, but they uh, they don't respond.
Mm.
They think I ask weird questions because I think they always have tensions between Russia and Ukraine. So some people may and they don't want to care about pay more attention about this
Right.
at that time. But
Right.
yeah, the war happened few months later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It was pretty bad. It caught a lot of people. There were a lot of people who didn't think a war would ever happen
yeah,
until it happened. Well, and the crazy thing is, in the case of Ukraine with 2022, the war had already been going on since 2014.
yeah.
So
In Donbass,
in
yes.
Donbass, yeah. So it is. Let me ask you this: speaking about Taiwan specifically, do you the way that people think about the possibility of a war happening? do you think it's kind of similar? Do you think there are some people in Taiwan who kind of think a war could never happen, or just aren't preparing enough in case something happens with China?
Yeah, uh, like the Taiwanese stock just reached its record in
Hmm.
recent, so it's pretty like people feel safe for investment in the island
Okay.
for the semiconductor.
Right.
Yeah, so people don't think the war will come or they don't want to face it like Ukraine before the war, is
Right.
very similar uh
Mindset.
mindset, yes. So but even for the parties, like parties in Taiwan, like pro Taiwan, pro China party,
Hmm.
but they don't prepare. They prepare. It's like the pro, how to say, um the pro Taiwan party.
Oh yeah,
They
yeah.
claim they
Hmm.
claims that if we prepare our defense, okay, we prepare the weapon, we invest the weapons, we invest the submarines, then the China, and we stick with the allies,
Hmm.
then the China don't dare to start war. This is how they claim, how
Hmm.
they are claiming. And for the pro-China party, they say, "Oh, you should not do this defense investment. You should not say you want sovereignty. You sh- and we can appease with China, and they will not attack us because we share economic interest." Okay,
Right.
so both
Hmm.
of these parties they don't prepare for war. They
Mm.
prepare for defense or not. They arguing. They're arguing if the defense investment is how is worthy or not. It
Hmm.
works or not. But
Hmm.
they don't prepare for war. Like they don't prepare people to live in war, and they don't prepare to how to like uh, destroy the enemy's strengths
Hmm.
before before they landing or before they fire,
Hmm.
because there are tons of things we can do like before the conflict start, right? But yeah, they don't do that. Yeah, so it's for my perspective and the uh, the history for Ukraine war. I think it's very sadly, but I understand why they do that because it's a democratic uh, uh, like
Process. Yeah, it's just a part of.
process. Yeah,
Yeah.
and people don't like it. It's like it's like you telling a people say, hey, you will die in one day eventually. He will say, what
Right.
the fuck? He will say, why will you tell me that I will die? I'm living in live happily,
Well, I'll say, just like with Russia, we've seen, the whole world has seen what happens when countries try to appease Russia. It doesn't change anything. They still attack. They want to build empire. And actually, this is reminding me of something, not to change the subject too much, but maybe you heard about this. I had heard there were recent Chinese military, because it's not just Taiwan. Also, we see this, maybe not. Um, Maybe it hasn't been in the news or focused on as much in the West, but we see similar activities from China as we do from Russia. I heard about Bhutan recently having a problem with Chinese troops within their borders, and for a long time now, just like Tibet, I think many people have been wondering if China is going to take Bhutan, or at least a big part of Bhutan, just like they did Tibet
Mm,
years and years ago.
yeah.
Uh, and, so there are multiple countries that these two large aggressors, imperialist powers, because they really do act imperialistic, who are threatened. And at the end of the day, we have to realize appeasement doesn't work. If a bully decides they're going to take what's yours, then they'll do it. They'll try. The only way to stop them is to hit them hard enough that they know to back the hell off.
Okay. There's a difference between like Bhutan, China, and Ukraine, Russia is we have an ocean between us, you know?
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it will depend on Chinese naval like strength, right?
Hmm.
I mean, they can't just throw it, you know? And so I believe that not my belief, but some of the KMT people supporters said that like communism or like China economy will not like it will not flourish all the time, you know, because they are unstable, and one day they will collapse. So we can just earn their money after they they fail.
Hmm.
Then we can, yeah, we can. They think it's smart, you know,
Hmm.
and they don't believe China have this natural strength. And yeah, I mean, from now on, it doesn't like it will happen from now on. But still, they have the China still have nukes, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's I believe, I believe because their naval force can never compare to Allies force,
Mm.
and uh, the landing battlefield is very difficult. It's
Hmm.
very difficult, you know, because Taiwan's beaches are not very large, and we have heavily like tanks, helicopters, very accurate missiles in the island. Like China aims 2,000 missiles on Taiwan,
Mm.
okay, but Taiwanese aims 6,000 missiles on China.
Yeah, you have to make the cost.
So we
So,
have more missiles than them, although we use defensive missile more, okay? But still, with the semiconductor technology, the high tech, we have more accurate missiles.
hmm.
And after the U.S. and the Allies blocking China, their high tech strength will get lower, weaker. They will get weaker, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, I believe without nuke, or without a proxy war, like they provoke
Right.
poor Chinese people to against the government. Except these two scenarios, they may not success. Okay.
Well, another big thing regarding nukes is the fact that, unlike Ukraine, for example, which is a very large country compared to most countries, it's actually pretty big in terms of land
Yeah.
size.
Yeah.
Um, Taiwan is an island, and it is a lot smaller. So, yeah, China would be insane to try to use a nuke in any way against Taiwan. Maybe against someone else, like an ally somewhere else around the world, they might try to scare people like that. But it would make no sense. It would be like North Korea trying to nuke South Korea. There would not. What do you do with the land afterward? You're basically saying we don't care. but you do bring up very good points about the fact that it would not be easy. It is very different compared to places like
I mean, as you
Bhutan.
point, it's an island. So
Yeah,
once the conflict starts, you have no way to go. You
yeah,
know, all you can do is against the enemy. No matter you pro Chinese or pro Taiwanese. It's like
mm,
Ukraine. Many
yeah,
many Russians in Ukraine, they're against Russia after the invasion
yeah,
because they're invading their home.
yeah, exactly. No,
Their homeland.
there are many, and this is I've said this before on streams. You know, everyone, everyone is pissed. That it's being light, saying that they're pissed. Everyone hates the Russian Federation right now. There's a lot of anger at Russia, but there are many Russian speakers, people who grew up
Yeah,
speaking that language, people who maybe even are ethnically Russian, who are
yeah,
citizens of Ukraine, fighting against the Russians because, like you said, they came in and they just invaded and killed and started taking things and throwing people in prison camps.
yeah.
People aren't going to stand for that. They just aren't.
And in
So
Ukraine, many people can just fled from the land. So I mean, I believe the solidarity in the island will have stronger. You know, it will provoke strongly when the conflict starts. I believe that.
yeah, well, and this actually flows into another question I want to ask, a very important one actually. Um, okay, as a Taiwanese citizen, watching how things are happening, unfolding with the war in Ukraine, with regards to the support that Ukraine has gotten, the things they have gotten and the things they haven't gotten, such as getting supplies, but not always as quickly as they should. And even though it wasn't really a defense agreement, something like the Budapest Memorandum, which kind of a little bit softly implied that there would be stronger support, maybe even in the case of sending troops to help Ukraine, even though that was never a promise. But there was a promise to help Ukraine defend itself against invasion. Um, the response, both militarily from the U.S. and other allies of Ukraine, and economically regarding countries around the world who sometimes are bypassing sanctions or continue to do business with Russia, even when the war is happening, all these horrible things are happening. Do you do you have any fear of a similar issue with China, like countries skirting past? Oh, we lost Kíng-Bûn. Oh, hopefully he will be back momentarily. Well, while we're waiting, I'm going to check and see if we have any questions. One sec, everybody. Let's see. Oh, we do have a couple of questions. All right, as soon as Kíng-Bûn is back, we will ask. Let me message him real fast. All right. I hope that his phone battery did not die. He said it was charged. It died. He disappeared pretty quickly there. So my concern is that it might have died, but hopefully not. In the meantime, I'll take a look at some of these questions and see if there are any I can answer right quick. All right. Let's see. Oh, oh, and we got another question that came in. Hey, can you hear me?
It must be a cyber attack.
I know, right? It must be the 10-cent army, the Wu Mao.
Yeah, yeah. There were some spies around the neighborhood. Is
Yep.
yeah, annoying us.
Maybe it's the Russians. Maybe it's the Russians doing a favor for the Chinese.
Yeah, yeah. True, true. That's true.
So, oh shoot, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, my question I was going to ask was, with the response from the U.S. and from allies of Ukraine, both with weapons, and with some countries bypassing sanctions, do you think there's a fear of a similar response if China ever tried to invade Taiwan?
We Taiwan have a stronger connection to allies than Ukraine. I mean, it
Mm,
has been
true.
decades relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ukraine is more recent relations,
Right.
and moreover, Taiwan is a territory for allies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ukraine is an independent country. Its territory is itself, but Taiwan is not. Tai- the Japanese give up the Taiwan after World War II, but in the San Francisco Treaty, it doesn't ri- it doesn't written that who uh, Taiwan belongs whom, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So Taiwan's current situation is very like the West Berlin during the Cold War. The ROC, Republic of China, the current government in Taiwan, is just a representative for allies
Mm,
to rule rule the island. Okay, so if and the PRC are not members in the San Francisco Treaty frames.
mm-hmm.
So if PRC attack Taiwan, it means it declare war to all of the countries inherit from like responsibility from the treaty. Okay, including Russia,
Mm-hmm.
including Russia because Russia is um, uh, inherits states from Soviet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it would be stupid if they do that. So what PRC want to do is they want to attract or bribe Taiwanese people to like surrender itself by the one China policy. How to do that? Because Republic of China, the ROC, is the member of the treaty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and the PRC claims they inherit the China, the China status from the Qing Empire and then the Republic of China, right? So they claim they can uh, take, they can rule Taiwan by inherit the Republic of China's how to say interest in Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they claim. So if, but it's very unlikely happens, if the ROC government, Republic of China, Taiwan government, they surrender actively to PRC without war, without a conflict. Then and they say, okay, now PRC is the only China in the world. We will not become ROC, or or the PRC want to reconstruct their country. They give out the name of PRC. They name them Republic of China. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. And they want to have the coalition government with KMT. Okay, they can do that
Okay.
if they want. I mean, they did that before in the communist countries, communist regimes. They all did that shit. Okay, the name is not important for them. The name is not important for them, for communists. And
Right.
yeah, so they can inherit the interest in Taiwan. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is the way they want to trigger. They want to, the PRC want to trigger. Okay, but
Okay.
it needs the ROC government to cooperate, and
Mm-hmm.
the ROC government is highly intensely watched by United States.
Oh, not just the United States. I think people
Yeah,
I think they underestimate how many governments have a vested interest in the fate of Taiwan.
yeah, and let me tell you a thing. Uh, Even in the local election, most of the is like the expected councillors
Hmm.
candidates, most of the candidates for local councillor will have like they need to interview with AIT.
Hmm.
That's what I heard. So everyone can say I'm just saying bullshit. It's fine. I'm just telling you. With these rumors, the rumors shows how intense the allies watching us. You know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hold on a sec. So basically, I guess that kind of answers a little bit. We went through a couple different topics there, but basically, uh, with all of that being said, do you feel like there's confidence in allies, strongly responding to help Taiwan
Yeah,
in a
the
time of
issues
need?
for Taiwanese people is the allies don't care who protects the island, who rules the island.
Hmm.
It's fine for allies that KMT if they fall back like before in the Cold War position,
Oh.
and they say, "Oh, I'm against a communist. I will I will stick in
Oh, you mean
United States,"
like during
and they are
the
fine with that. You
you
know,
you mean like during the White Terror during that time?
they yeah,
Or
yeah, but unlikely in current situation. But still, yeah, they can
yeah.
support KMT if they're against communists.
Hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
they can support uh, the Chinese slaughtering Taiwanese people like they did before if they believe it it works. You know,
Hmm.
I mean that's why they tolerate KMT do those genocides
Right, back in the
things
day.
for
Yeah.
Taiwanese people, you know,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
language, in culture, and
For
in the
uh-huh.
white arrows in
So
body, you know.
yeah. So just to let everybody know, we got a few more questions, so I'm gonna move to the questions so we got time for them all. But there's a lot of history we're covering here. Maybe not everyone is familiar with it. Taiwan does have its own quite controversial history with the KMT specifically. If anyone's not aware, you can go look it up. But there was a time when martial law and more authoritarian government existed in Taiwan. So it's been complex. Luckily, of course, a transition to democracy did occur, and modern Taiwan is not like that anymore. Um, but so I've got a few questions here. If you're ready, I'll go ahead and shift over to them because most of them are for you. First question I have is from Mr. Squiggle. Uh, oh, wait, can I? Well, I can only highlight it here, not on the screen. But his question is, Difference between Taiwanese and Mandarin. He wants to know the difference between Mandarin language and Taiwanese language.
Okay, okay. Is one more difference between Ukrainian and Russian? It's like English and German, you know.
Yeah.
It's they can't communicate each other. I mean, you can see the similarity or the the shared vocabularies
Hmm.
between English and German, right? Like kindergarten is it sounds the same. Yeah,
Yeah.
but in Taiwanese they share like the han the Hanji. They share the Hanji in some parts, but the Hanji can't speak very fluent. It's not practical in verbal language.
Hmm.
So, but generally for the language itself, you can't communicate with each other between Taiwanese and Mandarin. Okay, so you see how they're different. They share similarities. They share similar vocabularies. They share some Hanji, but yeah, and moreover, uh, the the word system, the literary system for Taiwanese is both in Hanji and in Romanized alphabet.
Yes, I've
Okay.
noticed this. Yeah.
Oh, there was a system after before 150 years ago, if and it named Beiweji or POJ, it named POJ, and
Hmm.
in this system, people the meaning in POJ means Beiweji, it means verbal words. So so in that time, the Hanji only is only the language in written system.
Hmm.
You don't use in verbal system. There's no literary system in the verbal language.
Hmm.
So the British uh, uh, missionaries they established this alphabet system
Hmm.
for verbal language.
Yeah, and it reminds me, well, it's really interesting too because like for example, it reminds me of the differences in language between some other countries that used to use Hangxi, that used to use Chinese inspired characters, like a long time ago, Vietnam.
Koreans,
Yeah,
Vietnamese.
Koreans, Vietnamese, Japanese do still use, but of course with katakana, hiragana, with the kana characters
Yeah,
combined.
yeah, yeah.
So, but you've got this shift in those countries. Like they either kept characters and strongly reject anything, like at the government level, the cultural preservation level, strongly reject using an alphabet, or it's the
Mhm.
opposite, like with Vietnam and South Korea. Well, North and South Korea, where either they adopted the alphabet and just said to hell with the characters, or they made their own writing system like the Koreans. So, yeah, it's very interesting that Taiwanese still uses both.
Yeah, we still use it both is because it's not how to say it's not
Sta
authorized.
Oh, yeah,
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 yeah. I mean, no government support it. Now
yeah.
it was supported by the government, but it's more like they recognize you as the national language.
It's kind of like the languages of
They
Ireland.
allow you to develop, but
Yeah,
they were not against the Mandarin society. You know?
right, right. It's kind of like Lallans, Gaelic, and
Yeah,
Ireland
yeah,
or
yeah.
Scotland. I mean, they're recognized as historic. They're considered important languages. They're taught, but the language for business and for everyday use is still Mandarin.
Oh,
Or
but this one thing different that
hmm.
Taiwanese is practically used in industry in
Oh,
a industry like the car parts
oh,
manufacturing
okay.
and in the industry like how to say the buildings the
Ah,
construction industry. Yeah, yeah, because Japanese uh, introduced those industry in Taiwan
Mm-hmm.
uh, like 400 years before.
Mm-hmm.
So in that time, Taiwanese speak Taiwanese mostly. So of course they introduced many vocabularies from Japanese, and Japanese introduced from English. So it sounds like it's like for example, there's a like the back, go back.
Mm-hmm.
We say baku, baku is like
Ah,
back. Japanese from back.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. Like,
Okay, okay.
and the
Uh-huh.
handling, the car handling, we say
Yeah, yeah.
handoru. And yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. So it's kind of like South Korean and Japanese from Japan. There's some English influence with a few words. Um, uh, but okay, so we've got a lot of questions, so I'm going to try to go a little bit faster with some of these, so we can try to get through as many as we can. Um, Next one is from CF Beauty. I have been following the quiet buildup of the U.S. National Guard and other troop and defense buildup. Is this obvious to the citizens or a quiet build up? She doesn't specify, but I think she means to Taiwanese citizens. Is the slow buildup of oh wait. Actually, I can't tell. The US National Guard, maybe this is a question for me about American citizens. Um,
Is it for civil defense or
you know,
I mean, let's
let's
yeah.
assume maybe she'll give some more information in the comments, but let's assume this is a question
Yeah,
for
but
both of
I
us.
can tell about the civil defense policy in recent Taiwanese
Okay,
government because
okay.
I'm the participant.
Yeah, okay,
We
yeah. Tell us
we
about that
license
right
people.
quick.
We
Uh huh.
license people. Yeah. Okay. In recent, our government refer the Japanese system for disaster relief volunteering and the U.S. system for the third community emergency response team. That is this thing for federal
Mm-hmm.
policy
Yeah.
in U.S.
Uh huh.
And we refer those experience to construct this system in Taiwan in recent, including my institute which license the disaster relief
Oh,
volunteers.
and
Okay,
why don't
and
you tell us the name of your institute right quick?
hmm?
You were saying your institute?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Well, do you want to? Well, you don't have to, but do you want to tell us the name?
yeah, yeah. In its humanistic Pastafarianism in Taiwan. Yeah, it's
Yes.
funny,
Okay,
but
that one.
it's actually authorized by the Ministry of the government,
Oh, I
and
thought
we
you were.
can license
I thought.
licensing people.
I thought. Okay, I thought you were going to give me. Okay, a second. The Formosan Guard or like one of the other defense groups,
Yeah,
but
but
yes, I do.
this is
Yeah.
our legal name. Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
gotcha. Okay.
In the government, they just
That's the name.
give the legal name.
I
Yeah,
I still remember when I first found that years ago, and I do love the name. Um, but okay, so and anyway,
yeah.
you were saying,
But it's very common for
hmm
religions uh to surface this volunteering. You know,
right, right,
this that's the uh yeah, resistance
relief.
volunteering. Yeah, release
Yeah,
volunteering. Yes, yes.
yeah, that's something I think a lot of people aren't aware of. Not just in Taiwan, but also, I mean, of course, in I think a lot of Americans are aware in the U.S. That is something that's true a lot of the time, but also even in places like South Korea, um, there's a lot more religious involvement in politics and social organization than people realize in some countries of Southeast Asia. Um,
So the Taiwanese government they introduce this new policy
hmm
is is for preparing the war. Yeah, they did that in this
hmm
mindset, but in this emergency department of the bureaucracy, they
hmm
are mostly uh pro KMT. They are mostly pro KMT. Mostly, yeah.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
so it's it will face some obstacles that to promote it in recent
Mm-hmm.
time. I mean, the KMT is the major party in the Congress now. So yeah, but we will see how to how to develop that. I mean, we are
Okay.
doing this. Yes,
Gotcha.
yeah. We are training people doing this. Yeah,
Um,
and we want to reduce the cost of human lives and proper human properties. The
right.
properties lost during the
Gotcha.
conflict. Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay.
basically, yeah, that's a little bit of a breakdown of the civil defense initiatives there in Taiwan.
Yeah,
And to
because
answer the
Taiwan
original, oh,
has a very strong restrict for gun policy, so we can't
yeah,
just
yeah,
like Ukraine to have guns in the
yeah.
society.
It's a lot harder. It's a lot harder to get
Yes.
guns in Taiwan. And to answer your original question, CF Beauty, regarding if we're talking American citizens about the U.S. National Guard, uh, I don't. I'll be honest. I don't think a lot of Americans notice. I think there's a lot of tension this year because of the election, but yeah, a slow build up, quiet build up of the U.S. National Guard. Uh, I don't think that's something many Americans really notice right this second. Um, Now, next question is from S House in Trees. Did you feel for you, Kíng-Bûn, do you feel that mainland younger citizens in, well, okay, let's just say CCP, do you feel that Chinese PRC citizens are as brainwashed as Russians are?
I'm not sure how Russian brainwash themselves, but I would say the young CCP members are more aggressive than the old one, which
Mm,
because which because the CCP was internationalism before. They are not like pro- promoting Chinese nationalism before.
mm-hmm.
I mean, it was KMT stuff. So the reason why KMT can surrender to CCP is because the CCP already surrendered their ideology. The
Mm,
CCP give up internationalism. Now they are saying, oh, we want China great again, like something like that, something like that.
mm-hmm.
So um, the younger CCP members, they believe these new things, which is Chinese nationalism instead of
Mm.
the traditional communism. So
Yeah,
they are
a lot
more
of people.
aggressive to Taiwan.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that. To be honest, ever since the collapse of the Soviet Union, well, first of all, I don't believe there's ever really been a true, quote, communist country. But ever since the fall of the Soviet Union, China is not fully communist. They may assert that they are, but we all see the mercantilism and capitalism in modern Chinese culture. It's really just nationalism masquerading as communism and having a love affair with capitalism. It's kind of weird. That's my opinion.
Yeah, but for example, for the minority in China, they got oppressed only in recent decades
Yeah.
because like in the Cold Wars, when the communism steal their ideology, they don't believe in nationalism. So they are
Yeah.
fine. They are fine with Uyghur to teach their language in their school and Mongolians and
Oh,
Tibet.
yeah.
You know,
Not
but
not anymore.
now they are
Not these
in
days.
recent they are forced Mongolian Uyghur people to learn Mandarin
Oh yeah.
in
And
the
it's
elementary school
oh yeah.
only in recent years.
Oh yeah, and it's pretty bad too. I mean,
So
everyone
they
focuses a
really
lot.
change. They really change. Now they are acting like KMT before.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not going to go on this topic for too long because we've got more questions, but
Okay.
a lot of people focus on the Uyghurs, and that is very bad, what's happening to them. It is horrible. Not many people I know talk about Inner Mongolia and really just Mongolia as a whole. If there's any one country that I am most scared for in the next 150 years, like other than maybe Bhutan, because they have to hope that India will help them if they ever get invaded. And of course, like Taiwan's in a better position than either Mongolia or Bhutan. Both of those countries, I am very afraid that they will not exist with the same borders within the next 100 years. They are very vulnerable. But anyway, I don't want to go into that topic because we still have more questions. The last question, very fast answer. Uh, I misunderstood it. The slow buildup of the U.S. military. Do Taiwanese citizens notice it, or not? Since it's kind of a quiet buildup.
Yeah, we noticed that. Yes.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Now maybe next question, also from CF Beauty. Maybe a little off topic, but can you comment on what China is doing on the island of Kiribati, the country Kiribati? I guess maybe there's been some news about Chinese diplomatic or business happenings in Kiribati. Have you heard about this? Oh, did we lose you? Oh no! Shoot. Trying to get through all the questions. Hopefully he'll be back with us pretty soon. Well, while we're waiting on Kíng-Bûn, I'm gonna go ahead and answer this myself. Let's take a look. So, if this is regarding the recent news, yeah, hopefully Kíng-Bûn will be back with us shortly. While we're waiting, yeah, so 2019, Kiribati restored diplomatic relations with the PRC uh, after severing ties with the ROC, the current government of Taiwan. Shortly after the Solomon Islands did so. So, if everyone remembers a few years ago, the whole controversy with the Solomon Islands getting really um, controversially involved with Chinese business dealings, and possibly even military bases, I believe, were discussed between the two. Kiribati has not gone that far. Oh, here we go. Hey, welcome back.
I
I'll just,
what I don't know Kiribati stuff.
yeah. Are you familiar with the country Kiribati?
Mm, no.
Oh, don't worry. It's if you're not, don't. It's a small country. It's an island country. Not a lot of people know it, and also it's projected to be the first country to likely disappear because of climate change, which is quite sad. Oh,
How to
are you
spell
still with
it?
us? Oh, we've got a
How
black screen. Can you hear
to
us? See it?
spell? Yeah,
Hello?
yeah. How to
Oh, I
spell
can
it?
see. Oh, it's got a very weird spelling. It doesn't look like Kiribati. It's pronounced Kiribati, but it's spelled Kiribati. And I don't know why, but ATI in their language makes an S sound. So, so Kiribati. Um, kind of like Qatar. It's, everyone says Qatar, but the pronunciation is supposed to be Qatar. Um, oh shoot. Oh yeah. Are you still with us? Can you hear us?
Yes, yes, yes.
But anyway, I was answering the question a little bit. I think that her question was related to Chinese police officers. Well, you've probably heard of. I think we talked about this a few months ago, um, a while back about the illegal secret police stations that China has all around the world.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
like
I
like
noticed that. Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
In a
So
foreign land,
so
right? Yeah.
Yeah, so they have them in, in Japan, they have them in New York City, they have them in cities all around the world, in London. And then apparently they've started reporting that illegal secret police stations are appearing in Kiribati.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Uh, for most function of this police station, it's service for Chinese people. They love it. They ask for it. The Chinese
Oh.
people ask for it because
Hmm.
the way Chinese people used to it is not fitting in the local law. Their hobbies are different. So people will uh, some people will have
Hmm.
like advantage to trick other Chinese in the liberal law system.
Hmm.
So they will introduce this police station to let them like uh, obeying the way they used to it.
Gotcha. Oh, and
So
also,
it's not
uh,
that serious, I would
mhm.
say. Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say I actually misunderstood. I'm looking now, and there are the illegal, unofficial police stations around the world in different places. But apparently, what makes this more controversial is these are official police invited, apparently invited by the government or invited by the police forces in Kiribati. So that's where the concern comes from. That this is the first time we're seeing overseas deployment of Chinese forces into another country. Even though they
Uh,
aren't technically military, they're still armed forces because they're police.
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, what do you think about that? About this trend of not just economics, but actual police and armed Chinese forces now deploying to some parts of Pacific Island countries?
I mean, Chinese people love it. So if you don't like it, just
Just speak up about it.
it's difficult if you are Chinese in your community
Yeah.
to expel them because they will always introduce these things.
Right. Do
I
you
mean,
think,
their mindset are different from ordinary people.
yeah, the nationalist mindset? Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately. Um, all right.
It's like
Mm-hmm.
there are always gangs in the Russian community,
Mm-hmm.
even in other countries. It's
Yeah.
something like that. Like the post-communist country share a similar situation.
Oh, and another reason she asks is because of how very close Kiribati is quite close to Hawaii. It's the closest country to the U.S. state of Hawaii. So
Ah, okay.
that's another reason why there's
Yeah,
concern. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, it is pretty obviously a tactical move, a strategic move the Chinese are trying to make. Maybe even try to do artificial islands if they can get permission to do so from the Kiribati government. At the end of the day, well, as I mentioned before, Kiribati within the next 50 years won't, sadly, unless there is a major change with something happens with climate change to reverse the trend, which isn't going to happen, or some kind of an artificial island production, project, which the government there has not announced that planning to do something like that. Kiribati won't even be there. You could possibly build some like some not oil rigs, but like military rigs or stations on the sand that's still left close to the surface of the ocean. But unfortunately, the islands are going to be underwater soon. So I guess we'll see if this even long term has any major consequence. But anyway, thanks for a great question. Next question I have is how long can Taiwan hold out on food reserves if there were an invasion, I'm assuming? And how does Taiwan fight China's propaganda? I'll ask both of these real fast.
Um, if if there's not much like devastation to the land, we can supply ourselves for years. Don't worry.
Mhm.
We have great agriculture technology,
Right. Um. Okay. So if there were an invasion, I guess, yeah.
and we
Is
have
if you're.
storage. Storage.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Maybe it's not nutrients during the conflict, if they're blocking us, but
Mm-hmm.
we will survive.
Yeah. Well, if you had to guess, do you think like 3 months, 6 months, 12 months? How long do you think it would be?
Uh, for the
Mm-hmm.
rice storage for the military, it will stay for a year, no problem. And
Mm-hmm.
we are still producing.
Mm-hmm.
And if it have the economic blocking, we will have like a transit
Mm-hmm.
our agricultural policy. So it will be fine.
Okay. Uh.
Yeah, if the land is not devastated. Yeah, like
Right.
yeah,
Good.
yeah.
And then, how does Taiwan fight China's propaganda?
Ah, okay, this is our weakness because we use Mandarin. If we don't use Mandarin, and we will be stronger.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I
It'd be
mean, they can just influence us in very cheap way. They can use robots just copy it.
right.
Yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
mean, it's kind of like, especially with troll farms and
So
especially
so
AI.
how to against it
Mm-hmm.
is don't use Mandarin. Start
Yeah,
using Mandarin.
this is
That's
true.
it.
Yeah, this is true. Also the great. I mean, what's always amazed me is the fact that um, the Mandarin used in Taiwan, it's still the classical, right? It's the traditional writing system,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
yeah, differences. So it's more complex than what they use in China.
Not really, not really. I mean,
Hmm.
it, it it's complex for writing, but not complex for
For
recognizing.
speaking,
It's
yeah,
easier to recognize because like they simplify it, so they mix many stuff together, so it will be more difficult to understand. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, next question I've got is, oh, and both of those, sorry, I forgot to say it. Both of those were from As the Sod Turns Landscape and Design Incorporated. Long name, big supporter. I've seen, who's been around here for a while. Thank you very much for good questions. Um, Another one from CF Beauty. If the U.S. defended Taiwan against China, do they think it would be would Taiwanese people think it would be a proxy war like some think Ukraine is? Hold on. Defended Taiwan against China. I think I'm going to assume this is for Taiwanese citizens. So if the US decided to defend Taiwan against China, do
Mm-hmm.
you think that Taiwanese would look at it like a proxy war? Like some think Ukraine is a
Ah,
proxy war?
yeah. The
Hmm.
pro-China propaganda use this term, but it will not happen like in Ukraine because most of the pro like the people who identify they're Chinese, they're pretty aged. So it's unlikely they will just fight on the street for the elders, They're
Mm,
like more than 60 years old.
yeah,
How can they fight on the street?
right, right. I hear you. Um, I think, hold on, is that the last? That might be the last question also. So, am I putting troops in the differentiate? I mean, if there's declaration of war. Okay. Um, Actually, I've got one more question here, but I have to go back and search for it. It is, it got buried under comments. So let me find it real fast. Nope. Nope. I think, oh, here we go. Oh, here's an important question from Catalan T. He had to leave early because I think it's like very early in the morning where he is. But he asked, "Oh, are you still here? Did we lose you?" Nope, I think we lost Kíng-Bûn. Dang, on the very last question too. Well, hopefully he'll be back momentarily. Yeah, and this is a question that's kind of more specific for him rather than me. But while we're waiting for him to reconnect again, all right. Yeah. So we just have one question left. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and talk to you guys a little bit about Taiwan in general. As I mentioned, I wanted to talk about this because majority of the time we focus on Ukraine, and of course, we're going to continue to have Ukraine as the primary focus. But I do want to branch out. I do want to cover other places in the world that are directly or indirectly related to Ukraine. The fate of Taiwan, especially if a war were to start while the war in Ukraine is still raging, it would have an effect, just like how the war in Israel, Palestine, that's having an effect of, political effect, distracting people in governments a bit from the situation in Ukraine, unfortunately. So it's something important to consider. I don't think there's any likelihood of war occurring in Taiwan while war in Ukraine is also still happening. But we don't know. We don't know what the future may hold, and so it is a factor that needs, anyone who cares about Ukraine, in my opinion, should also care about the fate of Taiwan for multiple reasons. Hey, welcome
So
back.
sorry for keep jumping up.
It's all good. It's all good. Don't worry about it at all. Trust me, I'm on streams with other people who on some of the other channels, we will have soldiers who are connecting from the front lines or from secret
Okay.
positions for their operations, and their internet, it goes up and down all the time with Starlink. So no problem. But anyway, very last question I've got here, important one. This is from Catalan T. Question: how does the population of Taiwan feel about the possibility of annexation to China? Do most Taiwanese oppose this?
Yeah, most Taiwanese suppose that, even if the Taiwanese who have Chinese identity against that.
Mm-hmm.
People like to live freely, and so even the pro-China party,
Mm-hmm.
what they say is like they believe China is a responsible country, and if they are powerful, and we can share the interest, but and all we want is we are coward. We don't want like Ukrainian to against for their freedom. All we want is United States and China. You can against each other, and we can earn some money from you during the war. That's what they believe. I mean, their logic are failed, but yeah, that's what they believe in the propaganda.
Gotcha.
So
So
they are
they're
cowards. They are not bravery warriors to support China. They're
well,
just cowards.
gotcha, and that's just among some Taiwanese who think that way, obviously.
So it's funny that China relies on the cowards to against Taiwanese.
I gotcha. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's all hybrid warfare. It's political warfare, economic warfare. I mean, I recall. Well, you've studied a little bit, so you know about the
Let
before.
me tell about some history.
Uh-huh.
Most of the pro-Taiwanese parties leaders, they have history that have been oppressed
Yeah.
by the authoritarian government.
Right.
And all of the KMT supporters, their leaders, they are obedient to the authoritarianism.
Mm.
So that's why their supporters are cowards. They used to it. They used to authoritarianism.
I got. Yeah. Yeah, and that is an unfortunate trend that can develop in any country. I was going to say, like, if you've studied a little bit about Ukrainian history, the Orange Revolution, the Revolution of Dignity, both of those that happened right before the war started in 2014, early 2000s, and then the 2012, 2013. So, you know, and those revolutions were against domestic Ukrainian politicians and groups who were seen as selling out to Russia, as, selling the soul of the country, uh, appeasing to try to make peace, corruption, these were things that led to the democratic pushback to prevent
Yeah, yeah,
Russian meddling. So there's a similar thing, I think, with Chinese meddling in Taiwanese society. You have to be aware of it. There is a war happening right now, a Cold War, an information war. Even before a single bullet is fired, before a single bomb drops. People think the war in Ukraine started in 2022. Some think in 2014. It started a long time before that. So,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, right now, I think there's an information war and an
yeah,
economic war
yeah. True,
phase
true,
for
true.
Taiwan. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, true.
So anyway, that is the last of. Thank you for a very good question, Catalin. And that should be the last of them we've got now. Whew. Okay. Perfect. So we're done with questions for right now, unless any more come in. So do you have anything, any initiatives, any projects, anything that you want people to be aware of about Taiwan and ways to help Taiwan specifically?
Mm, First of all, Taiwan is a relative rich country,
Mm-hmm.
I think. So, but I'm very thankful for say guys generosity you did support us in medical materials. You are very generous, and but I think what the Taiwanese people want to, which will encourage Taiwanese people, is how allies uh, solidarities. They stay together to against the authoritarianism
Mm.
and the imperialism for Russia and China expansion.
Mm-hmm.
It will be an impact to have the thing like, oh, we can earn their money, we can cooperate with them, like like they did in like 2000s.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, that's what I would like to say.
Okay. All right. Well, we're an hour and 18 minutes in. I don't know how long you have or what other things you need to do today. I can keep going. I don't have any rush. Do you want to keep going for a little bit more? Or how long do
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have?
please, please.
Oh, okay,
We can
perfect.
keep going.
Perfect. Um, well,
I'm day off. I'm day off today.
oh,
Yeah.
okay, perfect, perfect. All right. Well then, okay, let's talk a little bit about civil defense initiatives and organization there in Taiwan. I know you've worked with more than one group, and of course, you and I have collaborated on supplies and stuff a bit in the past. Um, Even before the war in Ukraine started, you and I have, been in contact. So, oh, right now, I know you had some recent changes in your personal life, but with civil defense, what's one big project you've been focused on right now?
Uh, may you
Oh, with
Repeat.
with civil defense, with emergency response for medical response. Is there anything you're working on right now? Any projects?
Yes, yes. Okay, okay. Um, like we are still training and planning new lectures for those disaster relief
Mm-hmm.
volunteering. Moreover, uh, because the CERS, the community responding,
Mm-hmm.
uh, is newly introduced by the government. So there are many things are not settled, mostly in the law system, or mostly in the law system. So yeah, we are lobbying councillors, congressmen to set it up. Yes, yes, that's what we did.
Mm-hmm.
And which the international friends can help us is we can have project like for the how to say how to say that how to say that we can have meeting,
Oh
okay,
yeah. Okay.
and we can cooperate and to share our experience for this um civil defense
Mm-hmm.
in skill, in organizing, okay, and in knowledge. Yeah, what we are lacking is the modern war disaster. I mean,
Mm.
in Taiwan, we don't even have much terrorism. You know, like the bombs suddenly happened in the train station. We don't have much things like that. So we have many typhoons, many earthquakes, and the traffic is dangerous. But we don't face like the weapons, the terrorism or the war conflict. We don't have like experience. So I can lobby those representatives to hold meetings for I think this for this event for this event.
Okay. Oh, we lost your visual. Did your camera turn off?
Seminar. We can hold seminars. Yes,
Ah. Okay. Perfect. Seminars would be great.
or the
On
forms, or
forums. Yes.
exhibition. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
If you are professional in like like med medicines, medics,
Mm-hmm.
and emergency, or even just disaster relief or volunteering. Yeah, or volunteering, we can cooperate each other.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Um, well, hopefully we can get some people in touch with you then who would have an interest in organizing all of that with you over there in Taiwan. Um, I mean, you know me. If you ever have a chance to come over here, there's a lot of places for that kind of training.
I mean, I'm in the Discord group, right? So
Yeah.
you can just contact
Yeah,
me easily.
Oh, that's a very good point. Okay, everybody, for anyone watching who's in our Discord server, I completely forgot. Well, I didn't forget. I just didn't think of mentioning it right now until you said it. Kíng-Bûn is in our Discord, so if you want to reach out to him and say hi, if you have an interest in support for Taiwan, we also do have a channel. We have a channel specifically for news about Taiwan in the Tridents Against Tyrants Discord server. So if you ever want to just learn, check that or post anything about Taiwan there, feel free. Um, and yeah, if you have any medical knowledge, any EMT or emergency response services, any kind of um, yeah, medical training, and you would want to get in touch with him, you know people in Taiwan, you would maybe you're an instructor or know someone, feel free to get in touch with him. And yeah, okay, perfect. Well then, that answers that. Oh, no. Sorry. Someone put a joke. They said, I have never checked a Discord and it sounds scary. Well, it's not. You said, come check it out. It's not scary at all. We don't bite. It's a great place. Um, oh, I don't think I have a link for it right now in the Discord. Um, I'll grab that in a second, put it in there for you guys. But actually, I'll do it right now. Hold on. Discord. Uh, Load faster. There we go. Invite. Copy. And there it is. All right. And it's in the chat now if anyone wants to join who isn't already in our Discord server. Okay. So, let's see. Are there any more questions that have come in? Nope. So I guess one thing we could do, right? What we usually do is I'll have a section where I'm doing a bit of an interview, asking people about, just who they are, what work they've done, any message they want to get out to everybody. Then go to questions for a bit. We could look over a bit of news right quick relating to both Taiwan and Ukraine, but we'll focus primarily on Taiwan, of course, for tonight. But I'd love to hear your opinion on both, actually. So let me pull up a bit of information. One sec. And I should be able to share it on the screen, and I think you'll be able to see it too, Kíng-Bûn. Let me take a look. So here's something from Taiwan News regarding China. Here's another piece of news relating, not really directly related. I guess this is more world news, but it's interesting, so I'll highlight it. And let me also pull up a piece of news about Ukraine.
Okay, maybe when you searching, I can share about interesting things for my
Yeah.
ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
One of my ancestors, I think it's 5 generations before, it was in Japanese period, and he's the leader for a militias in Taiwan, for civil defense militias.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's yeah,
So it runs
it,
in your family.
yeah, and Alaktan is from my mother's side, but Alaktan, it was Spanish flu. It was in pandemic. It was in 19, I think 18 or 20, 1918 or 20. It was a very serious pandemic in the world. I mean, the Spanish flu, and it it was working about the hygiene stuff and to promote to teach the villagers how to protect
Mm-hmm.
themselves from the pandemics, and the the governor or like the empire, the imperial government given a thank like certificate for his work and
Okay.
his groups. Yes, yes.
Wow. Well,
So
that's
it's
fascinating.
funny that after 100 years and still doing the same thing.
Well, and also it's kind of interesting how history repeats itself quite a bit because I mean, you said that he was there when the Spanish flu was happening,
Yes.
like over 100 years
Now it's
ago.
COVID.
Now then COVID, and he was in civil defense. You're involved with civil defense. So yeah, history, history maybe it doesn't repeat itself, but it definitely rhymes. There's a lot of
Yeah.
rhyming in history. Okay, so I'll go ahead and share my screen real fast, and we'll go over three articles real fast. I've got one about uh, China, I got one about North Korea, and I've got one about the war in Ukraine. So, first one, share screen. Oh, I just realized I forgot to save something and close it. Maybe that'll help my computer run a little faster. There we go. All right. And so, first thing I've got is from Taiwan News. And let me close the chat overlay so we can see it a little more. Okay. Decoding China. Can Beijing. Oh, I should also zoom in a little bit so everyone can see it. Decoding China. Can Beijing become a naval power in the Pacific? Picture from the Japan's Ministry of Defense. The Chinese Navy currently has two conventionally powered aircraft carriers in service. Fears are on the rise over a looming military conflict in the Taiwan Strait. The People's Republic of China wants reunification with self-ruled Taiwan, which Beijing sees as a Chinese province, even by force if necessary. Presenting his government's work report to the National People's Congress, (NPC), China's rubber stamp parliament, Premier Li Qiang, reaffirmed Beijing's firm resolve to, quote, resolutely advance the cause of China's reunification. This is part of the Chinese government's overall strategy, he emphasized. The statement itself is not new, but the word peaceful, a term that was present in the declarations of previous years, was missing before reunification. So, what do I mean, I could keep going, but let's see. Yes, fact, Republic of China. All right, so it seems that the rest of this article kind of begins to cover the fact that, from Beijing's standpoint, the source of the security threat in the region lies from their perspective, that the Republic of China, as Taiwan officially calls itself, receives security guarantees from the U.S. 5 U.S. aircraft carriers are currently deployed to the Pacific region, according to U.S. media reports. So this basically seems to be covering the fact that, China is trying to become a naval power there in the region, and assert dominance, so to speak, against even the U.S. Navy. So, do you believe that we can keep going through the rest of this article, but do you think that the way things currently stand, that China is on its way to becoming like the dominant naval power, or that they're going to uh, screw up? They're going to falter and not be able to become a major power in the region.
Okay. Uh, Chinese naval force, their strongest period will be 2025. It's from the think back in US. The arguments they said and they calculated, but it still can't against the allies power, including Japan, Korea, Taiwan, Philippines, and the US in East Asia. This
Mm-hmm.
is not including the Indian, but I mean it's in different region for the sea powers. But still, and what I want to say is they got these strengths is in because they started in 2000s. At that time, in globalism, most of allies they reduce their investment on defense. They smaller their armies in that time, and China the reverse way. So that's how they get some advantage now, but ILS are not stupid. They are chasing up now. So and all of these Chinese investment on naval force will get outdated after years, after a few years. So yeah, I don't believe there will be naval power, like dominant power, if they want to against ILS.
Hmm.
But if they change the policy, like if suddenly they support Taiwan independence, yeah, and they suddenly like a peace with the allies, then there will be a very strong naval power in the region. They can charge many stuff in the region. Yeah, it depends on their diplomatic policy.
Okay, that makes
Yeah.
perfect sense. Um, so actually, there's a portion of this article, and I've just been slowly scrolling through so people can kind of read it as we're discussing the topic. But there's one part of it that I want to go back and highlight because it goes back to something that you mentioned earlier. Yeah, we're at rising military expenditure. So I'll come back to this so I can scroll through the whole thing for everyone. Um, what you said earlier about Ukraine before the war against Russia started or really heated up, um, and the government, I suppose you could say, became more pro-Western than it used to be. Um, the the ties between Ukraine and China that you mentioned right here. It says in the article, two aircraft carriers in service, two more under construction regarding the Chinese Navy. The Chinese Navy currently has two aircraft carriers in service, the Liaoning and the Shandong. The Soviet-built Liaoning was purchased by China from Ukraine in 1998 via a middleman from Macau for about $20 million or 18.3 million euros. The businessman had initially claimed to want to build a floating hotel and casino. That reminds me of the that reminds me so much of the crazy floating hotel casino that North Korea had a long time ago. But anyway, off topic. Um, oh, hold on. I had a pop up all of a sudden. Um, so, oh, it skipped. Let me go back to it. Uh, Yeah. In 2012, however, the Liaoning was handed over to the Chinese Navy after being refitted and converted into a functioning aircraft carrier. The second carrier, the Shandong, is a domestically produced copy of the Liaoning, so a Soviet-built one that was transferred from Ukraine. And remember, everyone, I mean, back in the Soviet Union times and shortly after the collapse, when all of the countries, the post-Soviet countries became independent, a lot of technology, including military technology, was Ukrainian scientists were at the forefront of a lot of it. I love Ukraine, but this kind of it can show that as decades go on, politics and the geopolitical realities can change over time. So fascinated. Like we weren't even looking up anything specifically Ukraine related, but it still popped up in here. So I don't know if that's a coincidence or not. It entered in service in 2019 and has since been mainly cruising in the South China Sea, being a copy of that same technology that was then sold or transferred. Neither of these two vessels is nuclear powered. Instead, they use conventional oil fueled steam turbine power plants for propulsion. And these carriers also use a ski jump style platform for jets to take off and do not have a catapult system. And then there is a third one, the Fujian, launched in 2022. It remains anchored at a shipyard in Shanghai as it undergoes outfitting and mooring trials. So basically, I guess I wanted to mention this because the fact that one of these is from 1998, very very old. It is Soviet built, um, and it's just been refitted again, and modernized, I guess, over the years. And then the second is just a copy of that that I guess maybe was modernized a little, but the same basic design goes all the way back to 1998. Do you think that, and this is as recent as 2019, do you think that the Chinese are, I don't know, relying a little too much on older technology, like despite the fact that they should be able to afford something a bit newer? Or do you think that some of this is just designs that have proven to be useful throughout the years? Do you think they're being efficient, or that there's corruption and bureaucracy that's preventing the Chinese military from being more than a paper tiger, if you understand me?
Mm, yeah, if we we already observe many
Yeah.
many weakness for the Chinese carrier for their
Hmm.
logistics. They have logistics issue. Like the I think years ago there was a like a United States naval fleet are watching the carrier alone. I mean it seems cracked. It seems have some engine issues. But yeah, let's talk about more about the threat of the carrier. Actually, the carrier is not used for Taiwan because it's very the distance is not very long, so they can have their airplane very easy from their land. But still, is there's a possibility that they use these carriers to the east of
Hmm.
Taiwan and to circle Taiwan by
Okay.
their airplanes. Yeah, this is a threat, but it will be another weakness
Oh
for
yeah.
the east side for them because airline can be very easy to strike them from their back
Yeah,
from the east.
absolutely. Well, and
And
with all of
it's
Mhm.
open sea. Anything can happen. Anything like submarines, the the fighters can just go through.
Oh, or
Yes.
naval drones. I mean,
Yeah,
you've probably
yes. The
seen
drones. Yes.
you've probably seen all of the Russian ships that have sunk, including major frigates, flagships. Uh, oh wait, have they had? I don't think they've had a. Yeah, I don't think a carrier, but still major ships. So I imagine these ships that the Chinese currently have are not really designed for the modern threat of small craft that could severely damage and sink
Yeah.
a ship.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, precisely. Um, Encircling Taiwan fully is more difficult now than I
Yeah.
think the
But
Chinese
but but
give credit
still,
for.
the
Yeah.
carrier can work in
Hmm.
the South China Sea. I will not say South China. The South the sea in
The South Sea.
yeah the South Sea. I mean it's not Chinese.
Yeah, let's
It's international.
let's call it the Western Taiwan Sea.
Western Taiwan.
Uh,
I mean it's near to the Philippines
yeah,
and the Vietnam.
right. Um the okay, so all right, perfect. Well, this was very good to cover real
Yeah,
fast.
but the
Thank you.
carriers can work there.
Ah, gotcha. So
Yeah,
yeah, there
yeah,
is still the tactical threat for them to
yeah,
operate
yeah.
further from the
And
island. Yeah.
and in this sea, it has more like it has higher risk for conflict than I think than Taiwan. Yes,
Mm,
yeah,
gotcha.
because it relates to so many countries.
I hear you.
Yeah,
Well, okay. Very good to know. Thank you for your thoughts on that. And we'll definitely have to keep an eye and see what happens with that third carrier too, since it seems to be potentially a newer model. But yeah, I mean, even newer models, no ship is immune to the threat of of drone warfare right now. Next piece of news I've got is a lot shorter. This one we should be able to go through pretty quickly. Um, let me change it so it's in mode. And then, oh, did that work? Yeah, it did work. Here we go. So this one's about North Korea. So it's not really directly related to China and Taiwan, but it's still interesting. So I thought we would cover it real fast, especially because the risk of war between North and South Korea could have an effect on could have an effect on whether or not China would decide to try to invade Taiwan. That could create a situation that they're too distracted by something like that to even consider it. Um, so we were just talking about Mongolia earlier. North Korean delegation meets Mongolian president in rare visit. KCNA. Mongolia's president, Uknagen Kurelsuk, delivers a national statement at the oh, well, it cut off the last part. Seoul, March 12 from Reuters. North Korea's Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs Pak Myong-ho met with Mongolian President Uknagen Kurelsuk on Monday, North Korean state media KCNA said, in a rare foreign trip by a diplomatic delegation from the isolated state. The trip comes as Pyongyang appears to be expanding diplomatic engagement after keeping its borders tightly shut during the pandemic. Kurelsuk and Pak talked about developing the friendly relations established by previous leaders of their respective countries and strengthening bilateral exchanges and cooperation, KCNA said, adding Pak also met with his Mongolian counterpart on Monday. Separately, Russia's Deputy Minister of Culture is expected to visit North Korea around the anniversary of a bilateral agreement, KCNA said on Tuesday. So, kind of like I had mentioned earlier, like my strong concerns for some countries like Bhutan and Mongolia, this kind of screams to me because hold on, let me open up a map real fast because obviously Mongolia doesn't directly border North Korea at all. To get to
Mm.
Mongolia from North Korea, defectors usually have to go through China and then go through a specific, path and get smuggled to where they can cross the border into Mongolia. And that's how, in the past, less today, but in the past, people used to escape from North Korea and get out to the rest of the world. But let's see. The nearest crossing, yeah, there's no crossing nearby at all. To get from North Korea to Mongolia is a major challenge. So just the fact that Mongolia itself is sandwiched in between Russia and Russia and China may have their differences with one another, and I would say competition with one another in many respects. But but they still, I think, see the value in uh, how do I say this? Sup- Trying to create a situation where they both kind of get what they want, which is China being able to try to take over the things that they want, Russia being allowed to, do the horrible things they're doing, trying to take things from Ukraine, probably from Moldova and Republic of Georgia, again in the future. Mongolia right now, I feel, is in a very tense situation where even if the government there maybe doesn't want to, there is basically an understood message that you're going to work with us and you're going to work with our allies, such as North Korea, even if you don't want to, because you are very, very vulnerable if you upset us. I don't know. What do you think this meeting between North Korea and Mongolia signals that they're continuing to have relations with them through everything that's happening?
I think it's regularly meeting. Is
You think
it?
it's just a regular meeting? Well, it's just it's a rare
I
visit,
mean,
is what they
they're
say.
neighborhoods, so and they
They,
share decades of relationship.
yeah. Shoot. I have it in. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure it doesn't have any ads or anything
But
because I don't want.
Kim Jong Un just give up unification for Koreans. He tried
Mm.
to he's trying to build a new nation.
Oh yeah. You think
Yeah,
you think
yeah, yeah.
you think that he's given up on unification for Koreans?
Yeah, he closed the office, unification office, and said
Oh,
the North and the South are different nations.
really? I think I had heard that. Wait, how recently did that
Yeah,
happen?
right, right. Just
Really?
in February.
Oh, so
Yeah,
just 1 month ago.
yeah.
Okay. Hmm. Do you think that that's legitimate? Do you think that North Korea is going to abide by that and that they oh, I mean, do you think that the Kim family and the ruling military elite basically of uh of Pyongyang, do you think that there's just realization that it's not worth it to try to reunify and they're solely focused on keeping their regime going for as long as they can?
To
Or
be
do you think
honest, his work is too late. I think if his father did that work,
uh-huh.
it would be easier for him to and his family
Mm-hmm.
to be safer now, because just in 2022, before the
Uh-huh.
war in
Mm-hmm.
Ukraine, there was like the Winter Olympics in Beijing, right?
Right.
Do you remember? And
Mm-hmm.
in that time, the Kim Jong Un and the South Korean went. They they plan to meet up
Mm-hmm.
in Beijing. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
in that meeting is a starting point for unification for Korea in that meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, the Kim family will be ruined.
Right.
So in that time, the Kim reject Chinese invitation,
Right.
and yeah, and after the war, the the left party in Korea, they lost the election, so they will not talk about this after that. Yeah.
Mm. Okay. I
So
see.
so what's the interest for Kim's family and the North Korea is be independent, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's obvious. So building a new nationalism for
Mm-hmm.
them, it's safer for them because they don't want to be annexed by the
Right.
South, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly. And they know that realistically there wouldn't be a way to prevent that because
yeah, yeah,
you can saber rattle with a nuclear missile all you want, but at the end of the day, the bottom line is launching a nuclear missile is suicide. It would mean the end of your well, first of all, probably everyone and everything everywhere, but most especially your own country. When you're
yeah,
the size of North Korea and you have no defense against enemy nukes at all.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, so, okay. Well, just a quick, interesting something that I noticed that kind of tied into a few things we had discussed before. And the last piece of news that I've got here, because we're getting close to 2 hours in now, is related to Ukraine. So this one has to do with politics and the effect of foreign politics on Ukraine and support to Ukraine against the Russians. So this is from and I forgot to share this. I'm sorry. I'm putting the article for Korea, um, the North Korea article from Taiwan News in the chat right now. This next one is from CNN, and I'm putting it in the chat right now as well. This one is on everybody's favorite Hungarian autocrat and de facto authoritarian, Viktor Orban. Hungarian leader says Trump will end the war in Ukraine by not giving, quote, a penny. From Yeah, I know. It's so backwards. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban has said Donald Trump, excuse me, Donald Trump would effectively end the war in Ukraine by cutting off funding to Kiev should the former US president return to power in November. He, Trump, has a very clear vision, Orban said in an interview to Hungarian broadcaster M1 broadcast on Sunday. He says the following: First, he will not give a single penny for the Russo-Ukrainian war. That's why the war will end, because it's obvious that Ukraine, according to this guy, Orban, that Ukraine cannot stand on its own 2 feet. Orban, which is ridiculous. Orban's comments came after Trump hosted the Hungarian strongman at Mar-a-Lago on Friday. The former president and a small group of close advisors met with Orban at the Florida resort for roughly an hour Friday night, sources familiar with the matter told CNN, with one of the sources describing it as a social meeting with no agenda. A separate source called it, quote, friendly. Orban has been a long-standing opponent to European Union and NATO efforts to assist Ukraine since Russia's full-scale invasion 2 years ago. Hungary has consistently bogged down Western aid negotiations, though it did recently sign off on a €50 billion aid package for Kiev and approved Sweden's accession to NATO after holding out for months. So, yeah, I can finish the rest of this article, but also I've got it here visually, so I'll zoom in a little bit here so you guys can kind of just read it. In fact, I'll just go ahead and scroll through it slowly while we're discussing this. Basically, I'm sure we've talked about Orban in the past a little bit, although I guess it's been a minute. Now, everyone knows this man is very pro Donald Trump. He's very anti-Ukraine. He seems to be very pro Vladimir Putin and Russia as well. What do you think about Viktor Orban and his stance on Donald Trump, on Trump winning the election would end the war? You know, this
Mm,
signaling. Do you believe that this is something that is uniquely just the Hungarian president himself acting on all this, or do you think that he is a proxy, a puppet of the Russians?
yeah, we all know Hungary is a special country
Yeah.
that probably Hungarian people, some of them supports this this argument probably, but yeah, Hungarian may have to notice if Russia win Ukraine and they can take all of the donation from the West in Ukraine.
Mhm.
They can take all of it. And with this equipment and strength for the puppet state of Ukraine, if Ukraine become the boundary between the NATO and Russia,
Mhm.
EU will spend more money to defend itself to
Yeah,
against. Yeah,
absolutely.
and
Yeah.
all of the donation will be wasted,
Yeah,
and it will
exactly.
become the strength of Russian army.
Yes, precisely. And that's the thing. People seem to not realize that going in half-heartedly and allowing people like Viktor Orban to block aid to Ukraine, it's an all or nothing thing. You know, it'll cost more in the future because there will be more war. It's very obvious there will be more
And they
war.
got more resources for
Yeah,
you, your
yeah,
donation.
exactly.
You are
uh
feeding your enemy.
Exactly, exactly. Not only in the resources that would be stolen if they are allowed to take what they want, but also when you fund stuff like MAGA in the United States among Republicans, and you know the funding that goes from Hungarian taxes and citizens supporting Fidesz, Orban's party. I mean, you're basically putting money into Putin's pocket. These are
And
yeah,
moreover, Trump may not do the things that this president expect.
yeah, yeah.
Trump can do anything. He can just follow Biden's policy.
Yeah, he's
Why not? He can
he's
just do the same thing.
yeah, he's absolutely a wild card. You can't trust anything Trump says. He may do the exact opposite. Well, you want to know something crazy, like really crazy? I talk with a lot of different people in Ukraine, in the U.S., in Canada, in a lot of different places, and I actually end up talking to some people who are quite, without naming them specifically, quite well known among some advocacy, pro Ukraine advocacy circles in Washington, D.C. And most of them, you know, anti Trump, most that I talk to are anti Trump, are, pro Ukraine, are, pretty much everyone has a different perspective but claims to be pro Ukraine, and most are anti Trump. I've actually talked to a small handful of people who I swear say, well, who knows? Things aren't going so well right now. Maybe if Trump does become president, he could flip 100, 180, and then he would want to give stuff to Ukraine. And no, I somehow I just don't see that at all, especially because a big part of his culture war and spreading conspiracy theories and misinformation for Americans, has to do with Hunter Biden and laptops and corruption in Ukraine. It would be a very big switch to suddenly start saying that he, you know, considers himself to be pro-Ukrainian. It could happen because Trump does whatever he wants basically whenever, but I don't think that's going to happen.
But I will talk about when World War II, when United States participated in World War II, all Hitler is praying is that Roosevelt will die.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
eventually he died. Okay, eventually he died. But it doesn't change anything. It
Yeah.
doesn't change anything. The new president doesn't change anything for
This is true.
Hitler's destiny.
Yeah.
So the the war is the same. I mean, United States support Ukraine for its national interest.
This is
I
true.
mean, yeah. So Trump as the president, no matter what he did, it's for United States interest.
Well, okay, that my
Yeah,
personal
but my not as same as everyone expect, but it will be naive if the Russian really hope it will change the game, change the results
I see. So
if
what?
the Trump get elected.
Mm, gotcha.
It's like Hitler believed that after Roosevelt died and the United States will just quit the war and he will win again. It's
Right.
something like that.
That
It will
didn't
be naive.
happen. Right, exactly. No, no, yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a good chance policy wouldn't I don't know. It's hard to say
I mean,
because
United States is not dictatorship.
nah, tell Donald Trump that. Uh
Yeah, but he's a single guy.
this is true. This is true.
Yeah.
Um the problem with the thing with Donald Trump is uh the man does not have the cleverness to
Yeah.
pull a full legitimate coup against the American government. What he does have, though, is a megalomaniacal, narcissistic personality and uh, a uh, a body of chaos around him, just like a field of chaos that can severely damage American reputation and political stability. And in a way, that's almost, I won't say more dangerous, but it's like one is battling a full existential threat that could completely upend everything in one sweep. And the other is trying to prevent an injury that could hurt you so badly that as a country, like you slowly start to bleed out over a couple of decades. To me, Donald Trump represents the possibility of a wound so bad for America that it puts it in decline like previous powers of the world that still exist today, but not in the same form as they used to. So that's the real threat of Donald Trump, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. I respect that. And as Taiwanese, we will respect no matter who is elected.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Well,
we are still allies, so that's what we
yeah.
can do, and it's not our business.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
We should respect other countries' election. Yeah.
right. So okay, we are 2 hours and 5 minutes in, so I think we could go ahead and start wrapping up pretty soon. But we've covered a little bit of news. Let me finish. Let me put the screen back to how it was before. Yeah, we've covered some news. We covered questions. Oh, well, shoot, it's been a little while because we were reading news for a bit. Let me double check and make sure there are no new questions that have come in. Um, let's see. Oh, no, nope, no new questions. So I think for right now, yeah, uh, yep, we're good on questions. So, um, are there any closing words or anything? Well, before I go to closing, is there anything that you want to cover right quick? That you want people to be aware of about Taiwan, about Ukraine, just in general about the state of the world right now.
Hmm. How to say? I believe Taiwan is safer than the press propaganda. Okay, and because I was working seal oil seal company, and my client from Germany just asked us about the war issue, like how to prepare logistics during the conflict.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because once the war happens, the logistics in the world will just ruin it. Okay, will just ruin it. So, uh, but there is the possibility. The possibility is still there. The possibility of war, the conflict is still there, and never ignore the dangers, the risk of the nuclear war. Never ignore that. Uh, Russian just miss his chance because they are fighting in um, close distance now, and the nuke is not so practical in current situation. But if China starts nuke Taiwan, Japan, and these allies neighborhood countries in the beginning of the conflict, it may
Mm-hmm.
have some success. It may cause some success because half of the army will be destroyed because they can target the military bases, barracks, and the disasters it causes will just make chaos of the country, which will not ready for any kind of invasion.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Ukraine war, we can notice that Russian soldiers they don't care about the Chernobyl's radiation during the war. So it's very likely the Chinese soldier will not care about the radiation of the nukes when they land in Taiwan.
Right.
Yeah. So still, um, we should not be panicked in daily life and in economic investment and traveling, but still we should aware that madman exists,
Yeah.
and yeah, there's possibility we should stop it, and only United States can stop the nuclear war.
Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely. Um,
thank
Also, I have a question for you here, and I
you.
believe it's written in Taiwanese. So, but it's not, but it's written with characters. So I'm going to put it up
Okay,
on the
let me.
screen. Uh,
Uh, but he writes in simplified Chinese. 你讲爸爸 this is Mandarin. This is Mandarin.
oh, he said, so, okay, so this is
Yeah.
just Mandarin. This is not any version of Taiwanese.
Um,
Can it be
my
read?
location.
Yeah, well,
I live in Taichung,
mhm.
in the middle city of the middle position of the island. My hometown is Chiayi, which is famous on Turkey rice cuisine. Yeah, we
Ooh,
eat turkey. It's good.
nice.
Yes, and yeah, it is where I live.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a pretty good. Honestly, I've wanted to see your city for a long while. It sounds like I feel like a lot of people who like foreigners who come to Taiwan don't think about Taichung City to visit, but because it's a little smaller, I think, than some of the other cities, like the tourist cities, you know. But it is seems to
It
me
is an
like a very nice place.
industrial city. Taichung is an
Yeah,
industrial city. Yeah.
yeah, precisely. And then the next question, I think this one you already answered it earlier, actually, but I'll put it up so you can answer. I think he's asking if you are full Taiwanese or not.
Mm, this
Yeah, I don't
this
know.
words
Yeah, these ones.
is as am I eaten?
Am I? Are
No,
you
I'm
eat?
not.
You're eat. I think. Oh, in that case, he said that's all the Taiwanese he knows. I think maybe he's confusing
No,
it.
it's not Taiwan. It's Mandarin,
Yeah, it's Mandarin exactly. So
and it's simplified
it's simplified.
Chinese.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, and
uh,
but
mhm,
but yeah, we do ask each other if you eat it in Taiwanese is
uh,
a specific way to say hello in our culture.
mhm.
Yeah, we did that.
Ah,
So yeah, he
okay.
probably is a Chinese who know Taiwan.
Ah,
Yeah.
interesting. He says, my phone unfortunately does not type traditional Chinese characters. Plus, I don't know how to type Taiwanese pinyin.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
okay.
But
But yeah.
uh, yeah, if you know Taiwanese and in alphabet, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, you can type in Taiwanese, Romanized Taiwanese.
Yeah, and you know, that's actually one thing with with both Japanese, really Japanese, Mandarin, and any of the other dialects of Chinese that still use characters. I've always thought, you know, honestly, I just want to use the alphabet. You know, the characters appreciate the history, appreciate the fact that they exist, and that there are some benefits
It's not
to.
practical.
It's not practical. There's some you can fit more information into a
Yes, yes,
character
yes, yes,
visually.
yes. That's true.
Yeah, so information science.
But if you are not a fan of literature,
Yeah,
and yeah, you just use daily life. The Romanized alphabet is always better.
it you know to me it's kind of like cursive in the alphabet in Western languages that use alphabets. You know, cursive is nice to know. You should know it, in my opinion. But if you just need to communicate ideas quickly and teach people how to write easily, you don't teach cursive. You teach them print. If you
True,
want to
true.
teach people efficiently, you don't teach them characters. You teach them an alphabet. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's my
It's
opinion
good
though.
to know characters, but it's
Yeah,
not necessary.
yeah, exactly. Um, and he says I'm a rime hun shui. I'm not sure. I don't understand this. Do you are you able to see the comments on the screen?
Yeah, he's Japanese and United States high mixed.
Ah, okay. Ah, very interesting. Okay. Okay, well, thanks for being here, Chuck. We really appreciate you showing
But I don't know
support for Taiwan and
if
Ukraine.
he can
Hmm.
type Taiwanese. I don't know
Uh,
because he's
mhm.
just typing Mandarin
Yeah,
Chinese.
possibly.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
but it's fine. Not
yeah,
much people knows Taiwanese can be
Taiwanese.
typed.
Yeah.
English either. It's funny, but yeah, even the government educates kids that you can romanize it, but there's only one class in a week, and
Yeah.
it just starts like in recent year. So they're still lacking teachers. Yeah, lacking teachers. That's
Mm.
why I got this chance to teach Taiwanese in school.
Hey, well, that's really good. You got to teach the
Yeah.
next generation. That's very important.
Yes.
All right. Well, then I guess with that, we're gonna go ahead and close up the stream for now, everybody. I'd love to do this again because this time
Yeah.
I was super busy today, and next
I
time,
appreciate for
yeah,
your time.
next time I want to announce this ahead of time. I want everybody to be really like interested and know about it and excited, and maybe I put together a good plan for our stream stuff to talk about. But this was good. This was good. A lot of good questions, a lot of good information that was covered.
Yeah. True.
And yeah, I appreciate you being here with us, man. So
Thank you so much.
so with that, thank you everybody. Please support Taiwan, support Ukraine, support free people all
Yeah.
around the world, and we will keep coming to you every week right here at Tridents Against Tyrants, and hopefully have Kíng-Bûn back on with us again sometime soon.
Yeah. Slava Ukraini.
Heroyam slava.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good day, everybody.